Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Poetry Thursday, little BookTube event where we read a poem together. I read you the poem, maybe do a little windifying about it. I am working my way through this anthology, 20th Century American Poetry, poet by poet. I've only skipped one, all the way to the end of the 20th century. And we are up to a poet named Alan Tate, who was a vile human being, a vile, worthless human being. But he was extremely influential as a poet, as a critic. I don't know that his book reviews have ever been collected. I might want to read them. I'm not sure that I'd want the book in my house, but I might want to read them. He had a long career doing poetry, but like a lot of other figures that we've encountered on Poetry Thursday, he was in his own time, new in his own time, and is now famous mainly for one poem. It's a longer one, but I thought that's what we would read today for Poetry Thursday. It's Ode to the Confederate Dead, which has a date in this anthology of 1928. Tate kept working on it and fiddling with it, but the editors, I trust them completely, and they have settled on this. So we're going to read the whole of Ode to the Confederate Dead after the ear-piercing siren. I guess I'm just going to give up. There's going to be a long, protracted, ear-piercing siren in every single video that I make, ever. I guess I'm just going to give up on that. Sorry it grates on you. So this is Ode to the Confederate Dead. Row after row, with strict impunity, the headstones yield their names to the element. The wind whirs without recollection. In the riven troughs, the splayed leaves pile up, of nature the casual sacrament to the seasonal eternity of death. Then, driven by fierce scrutiny of heaven to their election in the vast breath, they sow the rumor of mortality. Autumn is desolation in the plot of 1,000 acres, where their memories grow from the inexhaustible bodies that are not dead, but feed the grass row after rich row. Think of the autumns that have come and gone, ambitious November with the humors of the year, with a particular zeal for every slab, staining the uncomfortable angels that rot on the slabs, a wing chipped here, an arm there. The brute curiosity of an angel's stare turns you, like them, to stone, transforms the heaving air till, plunged to a heavier world below, you shift your sea space blindly, heaving, turning like the blind crab. So you get the setting here. We're in an old graveyard. We're looking at old graves. We're getting some very beautiful poetry here. Dazed by the wind, only the wind, the leaves flying plunge. You know who have waited by the wall, the twilight certainty of an animal whose midnight restitutions of the blood you know, the immitigable pines, the smoky freeze of the sky, the sudden call, you know the rage, the cold pool left by the mounting flood, the muted Zeno and Parmenides, you who have waited for the angry resolution of those desires that should be yours tomorrow, you know the unimportant shrift of death, and praise the vision, and praise the arrogant circumstance of those who fall, rank upon rank, hurried upon decision, here by the sagging gate, stopped by the wall, seeing, only the leaves, flying, plunge, and expire. We have little two-line incantations in between each stanza. Turn your eyes to the immoderate past. Turn to the inscrutable infantry rising demons out of the earth. They will not last. Stonewall, and the sunken fields of hemp, Shiloh, Antietam, Malvern Hill, Bull Run. Lost in that orient of the thick and fast, you will curse the setting sun. Cursing only the leaves crying, like an old man in a storm. Notice the stanzas are getting shorter. You hear the shout, the crazy hemlocks point with troubled fingers to the silence which smothers you, a mummy in time. The hound bitch, toothless and dying in a musty cellar, hears the wind only. That stanza was only a line. Now we go back to full length. Now that the salt of their blood stiffens the saltier oblivion of the sea, seals the malignant purity of the flood, what shall we who count our days and bow our heads with a commemorial woe in the ribanded coats of grim felicity, what shall we say of the bones, unclean, whose verdurous anonymity will grow? The ragged arms, the ragged heads and eyes, lost in these acres of the insane green? Lost in these acres of the insane green, the gray, lean spiders come, they come and go, in a tangle of willows without light. The singular screech owl's tight, invisible lyric seeds the mind with the furious murmur of their chivalry. We shall say only the leaves, flying, plunge, and expire. So we've got flying, plunge, and expire. We shall say only the leaves whispering in the improbable mist of nightfall that flies on multiple wing. Night is the beginning and the end, and in between the ends of distraction waits mute speculation, the patient curse that stones the eyes, and like the jaguar leaps from his own image in a jungle pool, his victim. What shall we say who have knowledge carried to the heart? Shall we take the act to the grave? Shall we, more hopeful, set up a grave in the house, the ravenous grave? Leave now the shut gate and the decomposing wall. The gentle serpent, green in the mulberry bush, riots with his tongue through the hush, sentinel of the grave who counts us all. And that ends with an exclamation point. So that is extremely powerful. That is extremely powerful stuff. You could sit and ponder and live with that poem for a long, long time. Tate did. Plenty of his critics did. He was a mighty powerful literary figure. I didn't mean to prejudice the reading with the fact that he was an awful human being, because I tried to draw a mile-wide distinction between those two things. I tried to do that. Future ages aren't going to care. They aren't going to know, and they aren't going to care. Plenty of books today, canonical works, are read and reread and treasured and beloved by people who were absolutely poisonous in real life, and the poison is just leached away into the soil. The work has remained. So I try to think of it that way. It's difficult with Alan Tate, but I can manage. That is Ode to the Confederate Dead. That is his masterpiece. So that is our Poetry Thursday for today. Not very long, one poem, not a whole lot to talk about. It's just, I think, self-evidently beautiful. It's self-evidently gorgeous. We're still in the 1920s, but we'll see where that takes us next week when Poetry Thursday resumes. So I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.